bring you back here in the bottom of the fifth with the Canadians leading the visiting Hillsboro Hops 1-0, and it is our distinct pleasure to be joined by the one and only Ricky Romero. Ricky Ro, good day and welcome to the broadcast. Great to meet you. Thank you very much for being here as well as part of today's Toyota Superstar Series.
Yeah, thank you for having me up here. It's good to be back. It's been a while. I feel like once with the whole COVID thing and all that stuff, it's been probably three years, I'd say. Three years exactly to this day. So it's always good to be back. I feel like I missed this backdrop. I mean, obviously, anytime you come to the stadium, it's always beautiful out here. So I'm glad to be here.
Certainly glad to have you back as Gabby Martinez hits an 0-2 pitch on a line to third that is caught by Jesus Valdez. So before we dig into a little bit of your experience today, I want to quickly ask you some Blue Jays talk here. Alec Manoah, somebody who has been so terrific and has had a lot of success, but this year we know all about what's been going on with Alec. What is some advice that you would give to him as somebody who's been in a similar position as he was as a front-of-the-line starter and somebody who had a lot of pressure put on him early on?
Yeah, I think the biggest message I tried relaying to him, and I've had some conversations with him as he was going through this, I just felt like it was like my duty to reach out, and because you're right, I have been in this situation, and him going through it really hurt me. It was something that's really painful to this day. And the biggest thing I said to him, hey, it's not the end of the world. Don't make things a bigger deal than what they are. And I think that's where I went wrong. We care so much, and I think sometimes that gets lost in translation with fans. Fans are like, oh, well, he's out there, what is he doing? And it's like, no, we care so much. We want to do so well that when things don't go our way, you can get frustrated. And for him, obviously, he's still young. He has a great arm. He's part of this future. So yeah. I'm glad they kind of gave him this time to kind of go down there, take a breather, and hopefully he comes back better than ever from this.
Just had a hustle double for Steven Machado. So the Canadians with an insurance run at second base as Lyle Lynn takes the first pitch from lefty starter Yumin Lin down and in. Well, good to know that you were able to report some of your experiences to Alec, and I can imagine that is a guy who very clearly cares about doing a good job, putting the entire country on his back, and coming from the United States up to Canada like you did, there is a lot of weight that is put on these young starters as the next pitch is fouled away to even the count.
Yeah, it's one of those things where, again, I think you go out there, you prepare, you're trying to do so well. We saw what he did last season, and you're trying to live up to that same thing. And then sometimes just the game of baseball doesn't reward you, right? I mean, it's just the way it is. And I think sometimes when you start getting hit around, you're like, okay, I can get it back on the next outing. And when things kind of start snowballing on you, and for Alec, I mean, he's a kid that pitched here not long ago.
What do we think? Is this going to stay fair? No, it'll tail foul down the right side as our second installment of the battle of Lynn versus Lynn now has the count to 1-2.
When you think about it, he came from Vancouver. COVID hit, he went to the bubble, made it to the big leagues. So he's not a guy that has a lot of minor league innings. Right. He's a guy that really hasn't experienced maybe failure in his young career. So this was the first time, and I think it was more of a, all right, like sometimes, again, you're not used to failing, and you got to learn how to deal with that. And the big leagues is hard. I always say that. The big leagues is hard, man. I mean, that's why you tip your hat to the guys that are able to do it for such a long time. And just, you got to be ready to make those adjustments when hitters make the adjustments on you. And I feel like Alec's going to do that again. He's so young, and I think that obviously the organization cares about him so much that they obviously, I'm sure they sat him down and they told him, hey, like, this is what's going to happen. I don't know if that's what happened, but that's my guess. And again, I mean, I just hope he comes back and it makes him stronger, because at the end of the day, it's not the end of the world for him. It's a game of baseball. It's not life or death. And I think sometimes we get caught up in that, like, oh man, like my life is over. Yeah. Like this is not going well. And sometimes we just get put through these tests. And for me at the time, I didn't see it when I was going through those struggles. It's more after I was done playing. Now I was able to sit down and be like, man, I wish I could have done this different. I could have done that different. And that's why I feel like it's my duty to be able to pass that kind of message to him and to anybody who's struggling.
1-2 pitch to Lyle Lynn is high. 2 balls and 2 strikes as we're hanging out with Ricky Romero. I'm curious what your experience was when you first started your pro career. Was there nerves or was it youthful confidence that kind of carried you through?
it's a whole different world,
Yeah.
right? I mean, you come I came from Cal State Fullerton, a very successful baseball program, and then all of a sudden you're stuck in a little city. At the time, it was short season was in Auburn, New York.
Okay.
And that was like a completely different world. And, you know, I think it's more of an adjustment from being a college kid to being a professional baseball player.
Right.
Now it becomes your job. You're there every single day.
Throw down to third on a steal. Steven Machado head first dive, and he's in there safely. His 5th bag of the year. And Steven Machado continuing to light things up over the last couple of weeks as he gets that potential second run of the game just 90 feet away.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's the adjustment of waking up and saying, man, is baseball really my job? So, you know, that was the biggest adjustment of all, throwing every single day, being ready for bullpens, finding your routine, and everyone's different. So that's what kind of took a while for me to kind of adjust to. But other than that, I mean, how do you not love that type of job when you're in it, right? I mean, you're playing baseball, you're playing the game you grew up watching, and when you're able to do it for a living, it's a dream come true.
That pitch that Machado took third on was in fact ball 4 to Lyle Lynch. So Lyle's aboard at first. Runners hit the corners with 1 out as Yomer Hernandez, the number 9 man, takes a strike. Great opportunity here for the Canadians to add to their 1-0 lead with their right-hand hitting catcher at the dish. And the next one's up the middle. Second baseman Channy Ortiz has got it. Flips to second for 1, and the throw to first is just in time. That's an inning-ending double play to strand a man at third and keep it 1-0 after 5. Ricky, can we get you for 3 more outs?
Absolutely.
Ricky Romero coming back after this as we return with Canadian Tire. Canadians baseball on the Vancouver Canadians Broadcast Network.